Good morning to those who listen. It's September 30th, 2024, 11:12 a.m. And we got like 12 hours left before this port strike happens. So right here, you're looking at the map. This is coming from Evolutionary Energy Arts. But you're seeing a map. Let's see if it shows. Okay, so there's about 120,000 people in Florida, 572,000 in Georgia. Wow, 765,000 in South Carolina. North Carolina, almost 500,000. And then the rest would be 10,000 plus. But let's just figure that out for a second here. There's 14,000. What's the other one's 50,000 or more. So 20, 35, 60. That's almost 100,000. There's 200,000. Now let's go back again. Sorry. 200,000. Go back. So 320,000. It's not perfect, but so that makes it about 900,000. So that's 1,000,000, 1.6. I'd say there's probably at least 2 million people still without, 2 million, over 2 million people still without power from this hurricane. And a lot of these places like North Carolina and South Carolina, they were getting flooding even before the hurricane even made landfall in Florida. I don't know. It's crazy. So, wanted to talk about that. A lot of people are saying, weather manipulation, which is very, very possible, very, very likely. And I could see them doing it. Now we also got 2 more storms that are possibly heading for that same area again and could be going through that same area through Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas again. They're already devastated. And remember when the news went out that all these places were going to get hit with all this rain and wind, all these people went to the stores and cleaned out these stores because they were getting supplies for food and water, to hunker down because they didn't know if they was going to lose power. And look, this has been well over a week now, isn't it? I don't know, when did the hurricane start? It's been a while, and there's still people having problems. So, let me pause that. So if this port strike happens, imagine this again. Here we go. I'm going to say it again because I did it in another video. Say this hurricane happens, and come on, stop. I hate it when my remote doesn't work properly. So all these people already without power, possibly a lot of people that don't have enough supplies. That's why prepping is a big thing that you have to do, because you never know. A lot of people, oh, it's just you're getting supplies for the end of the world. Well, what is if there's an event, a hurricane like this? Anything could happen where you would need extra supplies. You never know when something like this could happen. So imagine if the ports now go on strike. They're talking up to $5 billion per day. And I've heard, every day that goes by, it would take an extra 7 days to catch up again. So if it was a month of a strike, that's 7 months before we could recover. And imagine if it lasts longer. Can you imagine? No food, no supplies, no gas for an extended period of time. there was already, I've seen videos in some of these states where people were just lined up for hours trying to get gasoline. And gas stations are running dry already. And the port strike hasn't even started yet. There supposedly is no talks, no negotiations. And our current president, if you can call him that, is going to ignore or not interfere with the negotiations. There's an emergency thing, I forgot what it's, Taft something. You can look it up if you want, but I'll just briefly describe it. It's like a temporary pause, I guess, for a strike, so that the two sides can negotiate and come up with an agreement. But he says, "Oh no, we're not doing that." So it's like he is purposely making this, or letting this happen, I should say. We've already got all the destruction and all the craziness of what's been happening in the last 4 years, and somehow people still are wanting to vote for that side. It just baffles me. Not saying that the other side is the answer either, because I don't think it is. I think no matter who winds up in, their agenda is going to continue. With the former president, if he gets in, there's so many things that can happen. This could be one of the things that happens where they don't have the election at all. It's possible. And even if there is an election and somehow the former president gets in, that goes against the NWO, the Great Reset, all that stuff. And we just had the WHO with that the Future Pact, where all 129 countries signed in on it, so they have control over pandemics, over crises, over whatever happens. If there's something bad that happens, they will have control over what is done to remedy the situation. And I don't think people realize that, because it was kind of signed last weekend, kind of in the dark, so to say, where people aren't paying attention. They're talking, everybody's talking about what's going on with the hurricane and the flooding and P. Diddy and the Middle East conflict. There's so many stories out there. It's hard to keep track of everything, and it's easy to lose track of some of the stories that they're probably trying to hide in the background. This is one of them. Not very many people know that there's a port strike about ready to happen. 12:01 a.m. Tuesday morning. So right now it's like a little more than 12 hours for me. So imagine that, if this happens. The whole East Coast and all the way to Texas, nothing will be coming in. 50% of everything that we have coming into our ports will be stopped. So then, guess what? Everything's going to go up in price, obviously, right before the election. And then, wouldn't that be enough for people to say, hey, this country we're having all these high prices of everything, and people are struggling just to get by. And then now, could you imagine if all these prices go up even more? Everything's going to have to come in from the West Coast, and it's going to cost way more to ship everything across the country. Oh my, it's just a big mess. So, I don't even know where to go with this, but obviously we need to pray. Obviously we need to be alert, and obviously we need to be prepared. Stock up on a few things. Get some extra food and water. You never know when the next time you go to the store and there won't be nothing there. Or the stores will just be closed down altogether. Wow. All right, so some more predictions, from Mike from around the world from last Thursday. Just to throw this out there too, because there's a lot of crazy stuff. He says someone's going to mess with a nuclear power plant, maybe sabotage, and it will cost many lives. And the Iran to the store country is working on that right now. Islamic countries, here's something huge too. You know, we got Kamala, who's trying to get in. Islamic countries will not work with females. So in their prophecy, they will get the upper hand if a female takes control. So they, you know, that's another thing that people probably don't think about. But yeah, I don't know how the world would react to Kamala if she got in. Netanyahu, Middle East countries want him out, want him gone. And when that happens, when he is gone, the Is country will be protected no more. There will be some more assassination attempts on the former president and Netanyahu. Get ready for that. Now, he predicted some of this stuff before the hurricane hit. What day was that it hit? Let me look really fast. 26th. Yeah, it was right in that same... it was right before it was hitting Florida. He said, Georgia and upward, the hurricane can drop 30 inches of rain, which we've seen it quite a bit. If that happened to be in snow, that would be 25 feet of snow. Unbelievable. And he, this was Thursday, he was saying there's 2 more storms, which there were, but they're way out at sea, and one was over in Mexico, that have a chance of going through the same area again. So imagine all these people devastated, no power, no chance to get more food and water, and then the port strike happens, no chance of, getting more goods and supplies, from the stores because they won't restock, and then another hurricane comes through. Wow, that's not good. And then the only other thing he said was, don't forget about the volcanoes. They're starting to wake up again. Well, they've been going on for quite a while. So my last words to everybody out there, please be alert for what's going on and stock up, get some extra food, get some supplies, everything you would need if there was a hurricane, a blackout, whatever, and any natural disaster. You don't want to be caught with nothing and no power and no food, So please do that. Please be praying up. We're going into October. Is this the October surprise? It very well could be. There could be a lot of October surprises. But what baffles me the most is how in the world can the Democrats play this whole thing out, with everything that's happening, with all the illegal migrants coming into the country, with all the food prices going up, everything is going bad in this country, and they still want to vote for them. I just don't get it. And again, not saying that the other guy is the answer, because it's not. So here's my other prediction too. I still can't see the former president getting in. If he happens to get in, I don't think he'll be in long. I could see it playing out 2 different ways. He just doesn't get in. There's no election. There's chaos in the country, so they have to, maybe we're in a conflict, but something happens where we don't have the election at all, or somehow it's rigged again, whatever. Or the former president does get in, and then, bam, something happens to him right after. Then again, we'd be, no matter what, it seems like we're headed towards a civil conflict. No matter who gets in, there's no side. Either side is not going to accept the other's victory. I don't know. It's just crazy. So again, we need to be open-minded and look into everything. Don't just believe what the news is saying, because there's probably something more to it. All right, I didn't want to go on forever about this, but we need to be alert, especially if this really does happen. If you're on the East Coast, you're the people that are going to be affected the most, especially in these areas where the hurricane hit. The Northeast might not be so bad, but eventually it's going to spread there if there's no goods coming in. But this area where the hurricane went through, and then you get a strike, a port strike happening, and then another hurricane goes through. Wow. Wow. All right. I love you guys. Stay prayed up. Armor up. And we'll see what happens each day that goes by. But, you know, we're heading in October, and then the November 5th is the election. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? The port strike is what I'm going to see how that plays out. Because every day that goes by, I don't know. It's really crazy. The port strike, the workers, they want a huge increase in pay, up to like 77%. I don't see that happening. I could see 5-10%, but if this, you know, if they're going to hold out for that bigger amount, this could go on for quite a while. Thanks for watching. God bless.